Hi everybody, it's Craftin' Just Because with Chris Cowan, and today is day 2 of the 12 days of Christmas. Thank you for joining me. Today we're going to be making a sliding gift card holder, and I'm using the Wrapped in Plaid suite. So I'm using the trees, the shaded spruce ribbon with gold, some of the jingle bells, and of course the Wrapped in Plaid designer series paper. And I'm also using some shaded spruce cardstock and some whisper white cardstock. And this is how it works. You flip this up and slide this out, and your gift card can be put right there. So then it kind of just goes back and forth. Pretty simple and easy. It looks difficult, but I know that this is the time of year when everybody needs an extra little goodie, and sometimes we need to give a gift card. So to get started, we are going to bring in our Stampin' Trimmer, and you're going to want a piece of shaded spruce cardstock that is cut at 4 by 11 inches. Now on that 11-inch side, we're going to put it in our Stampin' Trimmer, and we're going to score it 2 1/4. So I'm going to score it 2 1/4, and then I'm going to score at 7 1/2. Okay, now we're going to turn it to the 4-inch side, and on both sides, you want to score that at a 1/2 inch. So I like to use my right-hand side. So I'm lining that up at the 1/2 inch mark. And then I'm flipping that over. And I'm doing the same thing on the other side. So now we're all done with our score lines. Okay, so first what we're going to do is we're going to want to take and cut off our tabs. So we're going to want to cut off these top 2 tabs on our flap. So I'm going to go ahead and cut down the score line. And I'm just going to cut it at an angle on the side. Do the same thing on this side. Cut at an angle there. And then we're going to cut off the bottom ones, and we're also going to do that at an angle. So I'm going to go ahead and make the little slit for the angle, and then cut up the bottom score line. And then cut at an angle. So that is what you're left with. Next, what you're going to do is you're going to want to burnish all your score lines. So we're going to bring in our bone folder here. And I'm going to go ahead. And this just makes it a nice, even, crisp fold for our 3D project here. Okay, next we want to bring in our paper trimmer again, and you're going to want to cut a piece of cardstock that is 2 3/4 by 4 3/4. And then we're going to line that up on the 4 3/4 side and score at a 1/2 inch. So you just have a little tab just like that. And then you're also going to want to cut a couple pieces of your designer series paper at 2 3/4 by 3 1/4. So let me go ahead and cut this at 2 3/4. And then we need a piece that's 3 1/4. And then another piece that's 2 3/4 by 2. So you could just use that same strip and cut those off just like that. Okay. So now we're done with our designer series paper. What we're going to now do is we're going to stamp a little. So above, or actually, let's burnish this score line as well. So we're going to burnish that down just like that. And what we're going to do is we're going to stamp a sentiment right above where we're going to place that gift card. So I think I'm going to do Merry Christmas. And I'm going to use cherry cobbler ink because that coordinates here with my plaid paper. And I'm just going to center that, and I'm going to stamp it right below that score line. Hopefully that's centered so my head's wasn't in the picture. Then I'm going to set that aside for a moment, and then I'm going to stamp on a scrap piece of white paper a couple of the trees that we have here. So I'm going to use the plaid one just because that's my favorite tree. And I'm going to just stamp down, and I'm going to do one that's cherry cobbler and then one that's night of navy. Whoops, didn't get it very strong there in the middle, but that's okay. We'll cover that up. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take our punch and we're going to punch out those trees. I'm just going to trim this off and punch out this last tree. Okay, now we're going to set those aside, and what we're going to do is I'm going to mark, we're going to do one other thing here. I'm going to mark where our flap goes up, and we're actually going to cut some of that off. I forgot to mention that. So what I'm going to do is where I marked, I'm going to go in at an angle and cut the rest of that tab off because I don't like seeing that tab. Whoops, I meant to do it this way. Well, we'll fix that just like that. And then there's our tab right there. And we'll cut the rest of that tab off. So we cut a little bit more off that tab. Okay, now you're going to add your designer series paper. I like to use my liquid multi-purpose glue. Oh, and before we do that, look, I'm already skipping a step. We want to round the corners at the top flap. So I'm going to use my trio punch here. And I'm nervous because I'm on camera and I made a few mistakes already. So let me get set up here. Why is this? Ugh. Calm down, Chris. Oh, I'm on the wrong one. That's why. Okay. See, that's because I'm nervous. There we go. And then we're going to round the corners of the little piece. Okay, sorry about that, you guys. I hate getting nervous on camera. Okay, now we're going to layer these down. So I'm going to go ahead and layer the rounded corners one to the rounded corners. And then flip it around and add this to the bottom piece. Line that up. Now you're going to come in with your tear and tape, and you're going to put some tape on these tabs here. And then while you have that same tear and tape out, you're going to want to put some tear and tape on that little 1/2-inch tab on your Whisper White piece. Okay. So then I'm going to take my Take-A-Pick tool, I'm going to take the release paper off here. And then I'm going to carefully fold this up just like that. And I'm going to come in with my bone folder and just make sure it's nice and tight down. Okay, now we're going to take the release paper off our stamped white piece here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it down and I'm going to center it right above this score line. So I'm going to put the card into my flap and center that tab right above the score line. So let me get it right there. Looks like that's centered just like that. I'm going to press down just like that so that now when we fold the card, it goes in and out. So then you could put your gift card right there and it'll come out with it. Okay, so now I'm going to just make sure that that's nice and tight down. Now I'm going to take my trees and I'm going to add a couple Stampin' Dimensionals, but I'm going to be careful to leave no Stampin' Dimensional there at the top. Okay, I'll show you why, because it'll help to keep that flap down. Okay, I'm going to go in with my blue one because I didn't get that center down good because I want to cover that up. So the top is free and clear, and I'm just going to make sure that it sits right above that tab. So now it'll hold that tab in place. Okay. And now I'm going to layer this tree so that you don't see my little mistake there on his center. Okay. Now I'm going to take the shaded spruce and gold striped ribbon and I'm going to just tie a piece right, I'm just going to knot it so it's not a bow, right in the center. Just like that. And then I'm going to cut off my ends and I'm going to do it kind of like a banner. Just like that. And now I'm going to take one of my little jingle bells and I'm going to use some Whisper White Baker's Twine and thread that through. Come on. There we go. And then I'm just going to loop it around this and tie it around that knot. And then you could cut off any excess ribbon or baker's twine that you have here. So there you guys have it. That's our little gift card holder. So I thank you guys for joining me today. I will see you guys next time. Join me tomorrow for day 3 of 12 Days of Christmas. Thank you guys very much. And until then, I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.